Donald Trump walked onto the stage holding a stack of talking points. Barack Obama came with something much harder to fight the truth, and he delivered it with such unshakable confidence that one moment from the night went viral in minutes. This wasn't meant to be just another political show. The whole country felt that something big was coming. You could sense it in how people rearranged their evenings, left dishes in the sink, and sat in front of TVs and glowing laptops. Wasn't a sleepy local segment, this was. Primetime live, the names on the screen were huge: Barack Obama and Donald Trump. The venue was the San Jose Civic Auditorium, packed tight with over 3,000 people. Every seat was filled, and the rest stood in the aisles or pressed against the walls. The chatter was electric, friends whispering predictions, strangers debating outcomes like sports commentators. On stage were two identical podiums, turned just slightly toward each other like they were inviting confrontation. The lighting was bright and cold, leaving no shadows to hide a smirk or a frown. The format was called a bipartisan town hall on economic recovery. In theory, the goal was simple: offer solutions, share perspectives, and keep it civil. But even the moderators knew this was code for get ready for a fight in suits. They weren't wrong. As the cameras panned over the crowd, you could see signs, some handmade, some printed. Bring back integrity. For more years, truth matters. The split in the crowd was obvious, but the energy was shared. Everyone wanted a moment they could remember. Backstage, a makeup artist patted powder along Obama's cheekbone, while a producer said in his earpiece, "We're live in 90 seconds. Obama simply nodded and checked a few neatly stacked papers on his podium. No mess, just a couple of stapled sheets, a pen, and a glass of water. He wasn't here to improvise. He had receipts. Trump's setup was different. A pile of cards was scattered across his podium, an uncapped Sharpie on top. He'd been pacing since they arrived, sometimes glancing toward the stage entrance as if trying to read the crowd before walking out. His advisors spoke in low bursts, one holding unemployment figures, another gripping a chart on job creation. Spikes, it was preparation, yes, but it looked like last-minute scrambling. The countdown hit 10 seconds. The audience grew quiet in a slow wave. The moderator's veteran journalist, Paul Landers, and political correspondent Monica Rivera stepped forward. "Good evening, America," Paul said over the soft murmur. "Tonight, we bring you a conversation between the 44th and current 45th presidents of the United States. Our focus, economic recovery and bipartisan cooperation in a post-pandemic America." Polite applause followed. The camera went wide. "Please welcome President Donald Trump and President Barack Obama." Trump walked in first, deliberate stride, practiced half-smile. His side of the room erupted in cheers, mixed with boos from the other side. Seconds later, Obama walked in from the opposite side, unhurried, scanning the crowd. The applause was just as loud, steady, almost rhythmic. They shook hands briefly, both keeping their gazes level but unreadable. "Gentlemen," Monica began, "we'll start with opening statements. You each have 2 minutes." Trump leaned in first, thanking the audience, then quickly moving into a highlight reel of his administration's accomplishments: record job numbers, booming markets, unmatched pandemic relief. His side cheered, but the cameras caught a few skeptical faces. When it was Obama's turn, he thanked the moderators, the audience, and even Trump for sharing the stage in the spirit of open conversation. His voice was calm and warm, but carried weight, a hint that he had come for more than small talk. He acknowledged progress, but stressed that recovery numbers have to match reality in people's homes and paychecks, not just on paper. Questions were mild: how to help small businesses, how to fight inflation, but the tension was rising. Then an audience member, a small restaurant owner from Reno, Nevada, stood and asked about pandemic relief funds. "I applied twice," she said steadily, "and the paperwork says the program was expanded, but we never saw a dime." She looked at both men. Trump leaned toward his mic, calling her case an unfortunate exception and saying most businesses got the help they needed. He referenced White House reports, but didn't go into detail. Obama waited, then said without raising his voice, "Actually, I've seen the numbers. In Nevada, nearly 18% of small businesses that applied never received it. That's not an exception. That's almost 1 in 5. He didn't look at Trump. He looked at her, giving the kind of acknowledgement that didn't feel rehearsed. The air shifted. Viewers at home could tell the exchange had teeth now. The next question came from a teacher in Fresno, California, Daniel Cortez. "How do you... We separate truth from political spin," he asked, "when the numbers don't match what people are living through." Obama didn't rush to answer. "That's a fair question," he said. "Numbers are like snapshots. You can frame them how you want. But if you step back and look at the whole album, you see the real picture." He reached for his papers. For example, last month, the administration said job growth was at a 10-year high. What they didn't mention is that most of those jobs are temporary or part-time without benefits. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says 43% of those jobs are in the lowest-paying sectors. Trump's head turned sharply, lips tight. Obama went on, "Now, I'm not saying there's no progress, but telling people we've never had it this good while they're working 2 jobs and still can't pay rent. That's not the truth they're living." Trump cut in, calling it a distortion, and insisting the economy was stronger than ever. Obama didn't interrupt, just set his papers down with a half-smile that seemed to say, "Go on." Daniel asked, "So which one of you is right?" Obama said plainly, "Check the sources. Mine are from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the Department of Commerce, both run by this administration. If you find something different, I'll stand corrected." It was clean, direct, no shouting, no posturing, just a challenge backed by evidence. The room felt the tension. Monica jumped to the next question from Kansas City, but Trump cut her off. "Barack, you had 8 years. Now, you want to tell me how to do my job? People know we're doing great." Obama stayed even. "I'm not here to tell you how to do your job, Donald. I'm here because the American people deserve clarity. If I see misinformation from anyone, I'll speak up." The left side applauded. The right side grumbled. Paul Landers called for quiet. Obama sipped water, then returned to the topic. Economic recovery isn't just about charts. It's whether a single mother in Wichita can buy groceries without choosing between milk and gas. It's whether a veteran in Phoenix can get benefits before facing eviction. Those are the measurements that matter. Trump chuckled, irritated. "Nice speech, but the real world's more complicated than your little anecdotes." Obama didn't bite. "The real world is made up of those anecdotes." The stage went quiet, except for shuffling papers. Monica tried to move on. "Let's go to pandemic relief distribution." Obama adjusted the mic, happy to start. "The administration claims 92% of relief funds reached their recipients. Technically true if you count any processed application as success, but the Treasury's own audit says nearly 14% of funds were delayed over 6 months. In rural areas, closer to 20%, those delays meant businesses closed before they saw a dollar." Trump jumped in. "Those delays were because of Democrat-run states and their bureaucracy, not us." Obama held up the paper. "This audit is from your Treasury Department. The bottlenecks were federal." The crowd reacted louder now. Laughter from one side, shouts from the other. Paul Landers tried to quiet them. For the first time that night, irritation crossed Trump's face on camera, and that's when the night really began to tilt. The next question came from Laura Benton, a small business owner from Flagstaff, Arizona. She stood up, hands tight around the microphone. "Mr. President," she said to Trump first, "my store applied for pandemic relief last year. We were told we qualified, but the funds never came, and we had to lay off 2 employees. I'd like to know what went wrong." Trump leaned into his mic. "Well, Laura, first of all, I'm sorry you went through that, but I can tell you that most businesses got their relief very quickly. We had the most efficient rollout in history. If there was a delay, it was because of red tape at the state level. We gave the money out. That's the truth." The camera cut to Obama, who was flipping through his papers while Trump spoke. When Trump finished, Obama looked up, his voice calm but firm. "Laura, what you experienced wasn't an isolated glitch. According to the Treasury's oversight report from last quarter, over 120,000 small business applications were approved but never funded. That's not state bureaucracy. Those applications died in the federal pipeline." Trump snapped back. "That's not true. That's absolutely false." Obama held up the report for the cameras. "It's your Treasury report dated February 8 of this year. Anyone watching can look it up." The audience broke into a mix of applause and jeers. Laura looked between them, surprised. Trump's voice hardened. Barack, you know that's not the full story. You're cherry-picking. There were fraud prevention measures. We saved billions by making sure the money went to the right people. Obama stayed calm. Fraud prevention is necessary. But when that prevention turns into paralysis, the people it's supposed to help are left behind. And while legitimate businesses waited, some of the largest fraud cases came from companies that got the fastest approvals. That hit hard. The audience gasped and cheered. Trump shook his head, muttering into the mic. Ridiculous. Monica tried to move on to job creation numbers, but Trump wasn't done. No, I have to respond to that. Barack, you're using your smooth talk to make things sound worse than they were. People know we've had historic success. Obama finally turned toward Trump. Historic success. Let's talk about that. The administration claims 5 million new jobs in the last year. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, your bureau, says that when you account for earlier pandemic job losses, the net gain is closer to 1.8 million. That's still progress, but it's not 5 million. Pretending it is doesn't help the people. Still struggling, the crowd erupted. The moderators called for order. Trump leaned forward, voice sharp. You had your chance for 8 years. You failed. You talk about numbers, but you couldn't even get the economy moving until your last year. Obama tilted his head. Donald, this isn't about my presidency, or yours. It's about being honest with the American people in real time. If the numbers are inflated, say so. If they're not, prove it. Trump tightened his lips, but didn't answer. Instead, he shifted to attacking Obama's record on healthcare and foreign policy. Obama didn't bite. I'm happy to talk about those, he said, but Laura's question was about why her employees lost their jobs because relief never came. We still don't have an answer. The applause was louder this time. The camera zoomed in on Laura. Nodding slightly, Paul Landers asked Trump directly, can you address the specific figures from the Treasury report? Trump narrowed his eyes. I'll have my team review that report and release a statement, but I can tell you it's wrong. Obama raised an eyebrow. Your Treasury report is wrong. That line drew laughter from much of the crowd. Even Monica hid a smile. Trump tapped the podium, annoyed. The camera caught a close-up of Obama's papers, the Treasury header in clear view. Social media lit up with screenshots and hashtags in minutes. Laura sat down, but her question lingered. The moderators moved on, but Trump's narrative was showing cracks. The next question came from Spokane, Washington. How should the next phase of economic recovery address the wealth gap? Obama didn't even glance at his notes. Wealth gaps don't close themselves. They're the result of policy, sometimes intentional, sometimes negligent. If recovery is going to mean something, it has to mean more than stock market highs. It has to mean a kid in Yakima doesn't drop out of community college because tuition doubled. Or a retiree in Spokane can keep his home when property taxes spike. That's real recovery. No drama in his tone, just clear images. The audience connected. Trump jumped in almost before the applause ended. The wealth gap's exaggerated. People at every income level are doing better now. That's what matters. Obama turned slightly toward him. If that were true for everyone, we wouldn't be sitting here with people in the audience saying they've lost jobs, closed businesses, or can't afford health care. Trump's voice rose. You're cherry-picking sad stories to make me look bad. People know the truth. They can see it in their 401 kiloseconds. Obama replied. Still calm, Donald. You can't measure a country's health by its stock portfolio. Most Americans don't have a 401k, and those who do can't pull groceries out of it. That got laughter and clapping. Trump hardened his expression. You think you're clever? But you're wrong. People are winning again. You had 8 years and left us with slow growth. Obama cut in with precision. Under my administration, unemployment dropped from 10% to under 5%. You inherited a growing economy. What matters now is telling people the truth about where we stand today. The contrast was clear. Obama slow and surgical, Trump fast and forceful. Monica tried to steer things back. Obama offered a solution. Make relief programs automatic when certain indicators drop, so help doesn't get stuck in politics. Trump waved it off. That's socialism. It's the same principle as disaster relief, Obama said. When a storm hits, we don't. Make people wait 6 months while politicians argue. An economic crash is no different. The applause was loud. Even some Trump supporters shifted in their seats. Paul asked if Trump would consider it if proven to save jobs. Trump smirked. We already save jobs better than anyone. Obama tilted his head. If that's true, why are 18% of small businesses that applied for relief still closed? That's your Treasury's number? Trump shot back. Fake numbers, all from biased people trying to hurt me. Obama's voice stayed level. Your Treasury Department, Donald. Your people. Your numbers. The energy shifted again. This was a standoff between precision and volume. Trump leaned into his mic. You think you can come in here with your papers and big words and make me look bad? The American people are smarter than that. This isn't a show, Obama said evenly. It's the truth. And the truth doesn't change just because it's inconvenient. The applause was the loudest of the night so far, nearly drowning Trump out. The moderators exchanged glances. They knew this had moved beyond a normal debate. On social media, split-screen images of Trump's reddening face and Obama's calm gaze were already trending. By now, the San Jose Civic Auditorium's energy was mirrored across millions of screens. People weren't just watching, they were dissecting every word in real time. Twitter feeds were filled with side-by-side photos, TikTok edits layered, Obama's lines over slow zoom-ins on Trump's expression, and Facebook comment threads exploded by the hundreds every minute. In Phoenix, a freelance journalist live tweeted, Obama using Trump's own Treasury reports to fact-check him is like beating someone with their own playbook. It racked up thousands of likes in under a minute. On YouTube, conservative radio host Glenn Ryan told his viewers, this is pure performance, but Trump's getting boxed in. He needs to switch tactics fast. Inside the auditorium, the moderators moved to a question from a college student named Bryce in Omaha. How do you both plan to make sure recovery reaches young people just starting their careers? Trump went first. We've already made it happen. Young people are getting jobs right out of school. Wages are up. We've unleashed opportunity like never before. Obama's reply was slower. Bryce, some opportunities are better than others. If you graduate into a job that doesn't pay enough to cover rent, that's not the opportunity we should settle for. Youth employment is up, but over 40% of those jobs are part-time or gig work with no benefits. That means no stability, no health care, no long-term security. Bryce nodded slightly. The audience absorbed the contrast, not just in answers, but in delivery. Meanwhile, online, Obama's earlier line, your Treasury report is wrong, had crossed 5 million views. People were making memes of Trump's pause afterward. Political. Satirist Lisa Adkins posted a screenshot of Trump mid-interruption, captioned, "This is what happens when you forget the homework's due." It went viral. Monica tried to keep things on solutions. What would you say to a young family worried about rising costs? Trump leaned in. We're cutting taxes, reducing regulations, bringing jobs back. That's the best answer. More jobs, more money in people's pockets. Obama answered without missing a beat. Cutting taxes for corporations doesn't guarantee families see any of it. What helps families is lowering the cost of essentials, childcare, healthcare, housing. When those costs go down, paychecks stretch further and people can breathe. That last phrase, people can breathe, rippled through the room, drawing applause even from some who had cheered Trump earlier. Backstage, a producer mouthed to another crew member, "This is getting away from him." Live polls on Twitter showed Obama leading by double digits. Trump's frustration began to show. You talk like it's all bad, Barack. It's not. People are doing better under me than they ever did with you. Obama stayed steady. Donald, if you believe that, you should welcome every fact that supports it. But when the facts say something different, the right thing to do is admit it, not deny it. The crowd applauded. Someone let out a low whistle. The moderators kept moving, but social media was now its own force. Clips of calm versus chaos were trending. The tipping point, though, was about to hit. The next question came from Frank Dalton, a retired auto worker from Toledo, Ohio. He gripped the mic like it carried the weight of his years on the factory floor. "Mr. President," he said to Trump, "I worked 38 years, paid my taxes, raised my kids, did everything by the book. Last year, I lost my pension when my company went bankrupt. Why did billion-dollar corporations get relief faster than working folks like me? The room went quiet. Trump straightened up. Frank, I'm sorry for what happened, but you have to understand. When the economy shut down, we had to protect big companies from collapsing. If they go down, millions of jobs go with them. We saved the system that saves workers. Frank's face didn't change. I didn't get saved. A murmur moved through the audience. Obama leaned forward, elbows on the podium. Frank, your story isn't unique, and that's the problem. The relief package gave $500 billion in corporate assistance before giving a single dollar to workers who lost pensions or savings. That's not hypothetical, that's in the bill. Trump jumped in. We had to do it that way. Without corporations, there are no jobs for people. Like Frank, Obama's tone didn't rise, but it cut sharp. The corporations Frank's talking about took the money, paid executives bonuses, and still cut jobs. That's not saving anyone, that's looting with permission. The audience erupted. Applause thundered from one side, shouts from the other. Frank sat down slowly, as if none of it surprised him. Trump's tone sharpened. You're twisting it, Barack. You're making it sound like I handed out cash to my friends. Obama looked at the audience, then back at Trump. The markets aren't the measure of a man like Frank's life. You don't retire on the Dow Jones, you retire on the pension you earned. That drew the loudest applause yet. Trump gripped the sides of his podium. You act like you've got all the answers. You had your chance. You didn't rebuild the auto industry, you just threw taxpayer money at it. I didn't throw money at it, Obama shot back. I demanded accountability for every dollar. When we saved those auto jobs, we didn't. Let CEOs take bonuses while cutting pensions. That's the difference between help and a handout. Trump pressed on. You like to act like you're the hero, but you're not president anymore. I am, and I've done more for the American worker than you ever did. Donald, Obama said, this isn't about who wears the hero's cape, it's about the truth. If you want to talk about helping workers, then let's start by being honest. About who actually got helped? The audience roared. Trump's jaw tightened. Someone in the back shouted, "Answer the question." Paul Landers leaned in. Mr. President, can you directly answer why corporations received faster relief than workers like Frank? Trump answered quickly, because that's how you save the economy. Start at the top, and it flows down. Obama replied almost instantly. That's the theory. In practice, it hasn't flowed down, it's pooled at the top. Laughter and clapping from the left side. Cheers for Trump on the right. The split-screen image told the story. Trump leaning forward, chopping the air with his hand. Obama standing still, speaking slowly, eyes steady. Social media exploded. Looting with permission was trending. Commentators were calling it the moment of the night. Backstage, a producer muttered into his headset, "He's losing the room." The moderators tried to cool the room by shifting topics. Monica read the next card. How can Americans trust that relief funds are being allocated fairly and without political bias? Trump went first. We have the most transparent administration in history. People can go online right now and see exactly where the money went. No one's hiding anything. When it was Obama's turn, he didn't look at his notes. Transparency isn't just posting numbers on a website, it's making sure those numbers mean something. A spreadsheet that says $1 billion went to small business relief doesn't tell you if half of it went to corporations with lobbyists on speed dial. The crowd stirred murmurs. A few claps. Trump shook his head. That's not true. We followed the rules. We did it better than anyone. Obama stayed calm. Donald, I've got the list right here. He held up a single page. These are the top 20 recipients of relief funds last year. 15 of them are companies worth over $1 billion. 8 of those laid off workers after taking the money. Trump immediately pushed back. That's cherry-picking again. You're looking for bad examples because you don't want to admit the program worked. Obama didn't miss a beat. If the bad examples cost taxpayers billions and left workers out in the cold, they're not small details, they're the story. Then came the line that would dominate the next 2 days. Obama looked briefly at the audience, then back. At Trump, you can't claim victory just because you threw a parade. While people were still digging themselves out of the rubble, the reaction was instant applause, cheers, a few laughs. Trump tried to talk over it, but the noise swallowed his voice for several seconds. Cameras zoomed in on his tightened lips, narrowed eyes. On Twitter, political commentator Jules Harper clipped the moment parade in the rubble. Obama just ended the argument in one sentence. It got 100,000 likes in under an hour. Trump tried to regain ground. We had to move fast. Moving fast means some mistakes happen. But overall, we did better than anyone could have. Obama leaned in slightly. Mistakes are human. Pretending they didn't happen is politics. The American people deserved the first one, not the second. That shifted the room. Even those split earlier now leaned toward Obama. His calm felt like control in the production truck. A technician muttered, "That's the soundbite. That's the lead." The moderators moved on, but Trump's interruptions became more frequent and less effective, often drowned out by crowd reactions. Obama let pauses linger, giving space for applause or murmurs to fill the air. Live polls showed Obama's lead over Trump in audience perception, growing from 12 points to over 20. Hashtags like #parade in the rubble and #YourTreasuryReport were trending globally. When they came back from a commercial break, Paul Landers asked a closing curveball. What's the single biggest mistake the other made in handling the economy? And what would you have done differently? Trump didn't hesitate. Easy Barack spent 8 years apologizing for America and strangling our economy with bad policies. If he had cut taxes and regulations like I did, we'd have been booming long before I got here. Obama didn't flinch. Donald's biggest mistake is mistaking speed for success. Moving fast is good when you're chasing a train. But if you're headed in the wrong direction, all it means is you get lost faster. Laughter and applause filled the room. Monica asked for an example. Obama gave one. Last year's payroll tax cuts were rushed through without guardrails. They gave a boost to people who didn't need it and left out many who did. It made for a short-term headline, but no lasting stability for families living paycheck to paycheck. Trump leaned in. Wrong. Those cuts helped millions. Had more money in their pockets? That's what matters. Obama looked at the audience. It matters until the rent goes up, the grocery bill doubles, and the extra $20 in your pocket doesn't buy what it used to. Applause again. Twitter now had both Lost Faster and Parade in the rubble trending together. They moved to future plans. Trump rattled off promises, more tax cuts, more deregulation, America First trade deals. Obama countered with targeted investments in infrastructure, education, and healthcare, tying each to real-world impact. A nurse from Sacramento asked about medical debt. Trump answered quickly about cutting insurance premiums. Obama followed with a story about a friend's father declaring bankruptcy over cancer bills, despite having insurance. We can't call an economy strong if it's built on that kind of fragility. Trump shot back. You're making it sound like everything's falling apart. People are thriving under my administration. You just can't admit it because it destroys your legacy. I'm not here to protect my legacy, Obama said quietly. I'm here to protect the truth. The contrast was sharp now. Trump, rapid fire. Obama, slow and deliberate. The last audience question came from Erica in Santa Fe. What would you do to make sure the next generation can build a stable future in this country? Trump focused on job creation through manufacturing and energy expansion, big on projection. Light on detail, Obama gave a 3-point outline: affordable education, universal healthcare access, and climate-resilient infrastructure. He tied each to real-life examples. The event closed with polite applause. But the visuals told the final story. Trump leaving the stage quickly, avoiding the moderators. Obama staying, shaking hands, chatting, and taking a selfie with students. Within hours, cable news was looping parade in the rubble. MSNBC called it the cleanest political takedown in a decade. Fox's Rick Hollingsworth admitted, Obama landed some punches tonight, no doubt. Online, polls showed Obama winning by margins of 62% to 78%. TikTok remixes, late-night monologues, and fact-check articles flooded the feeds. Even conservative commentators warned, you can't win a data fight against Barack Obama if you don't have your own numbers ready. By Monday, a national poll showed Obama's favorability up 9 points, Trump down 5 among independents. The White House tried damage control, calling the town hall a staged ambush, but reporters pressed for specifics on which statistics were wrong and got no clear answers. In coffee shops and office break rooms, people kept bringing up the same three moments: the Treasury report, looting with permission, and parade in the rubble. They became shorthand for the night's bigger theme: the power of truth told plainly. Even some of the questioners, Laura from Flagstaff, Frank from Toledo, the nurse from Sacramento, told reporters the same thing. When Obama answered, they felt heard, not just acknowledged, but understood. Political analysts said the night wasn't just about data, it was about demeanor under pressure. Obama's calm made him credible. Trump's frustration chipped away at his voters might not remember every stat, one commentator said, but they remember how you made them feel. In classrooms, civics teachers played clips of the debate. One paused right after Obama's parade in the rubble line and asked, "Why did that land harder than all the shouting?" Students answered because he stayed calm, because it sounded real, not rehearsed, because it was short, but said a lot. Even people who didn't like Obama politically conceded that he came prepared, and that's what winning looks like in a high-pressure moment for Obama. The night reinforced his belief that telling the truth plainly, even when it's uncomfortable, is worth more than spinning it for applause. For Trump, it was a reminder that in the age of instant replay, every word and expression will be measured and replayed 1,000 times. For the rest of the country, it was a chance to think about what they value in a leader: the loudest voice, or the one who can explain the truth in a way that sticks. The moral, as many saw it, was simple. Facts don't need to shout to be heard, but they do need someone willing to say them clearly. And that was the real takeaway from San Jose: that accountability still matters when the lights are brightest, and that the next time a big moment comes, the choice will be between the one who talks the loudest and the one who stands their ground with the facts.